Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Everyday Excellence. I'm your host, Todd Baldwin, and today we have Michael Budd, the owner of Budd's Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. How you doing, Michael?
Good, Todd. Thanks for having me.
Hey, you bet. I've been looking forward to chatting with you, and it's Thursday, right? So the week's almost over. That's good.
Yep.
But let's dive in, Michael. Like I told you, I love talking entrepreneurs, so I appreciate you being on the show. And to start off, were people first hearing about your business, Michael Budd's Plumbing and Heating? Tell us a little bit about what all you do and what areas do you serve?
So we are, fairly small company in the process of growing. My father started the business back in '84. Generally ran a new construction business for about 30 years, 25 years. I was brought up around it, always, brought into different projects, whether, it was plumbing or additions on the house or, investment properties that we work. So I've always been brought up in the construction, side of things since I was young. Used to bring me on the job. So it's really all I know. Um, but he ran a smaller company and I took it over, or not so much took it over as I got involved about 10 years ago. I got my license, I guess, about 11 years ago. And back when COVID hit, we kind of re-ramped everything and restarted, if you will. And we generally are a service company now. We do very little new construction, and we hope to keep it that way. And we recently just got our HVAC license, so we are now doing heating and cooling as well. We're located in Cape May, New Jersey, which is as far south as New Jersey as you can go.
Okay.
It's a tourist town. Our population, I don't know the exact numbers, but we go from somewhere around maybe 6 to 800,000 to a couple million
Wow.
come summertime. So it's a big boom. We're getting ready to hit that boom right now. We have all the barrier islands, if you will, which keep us very busy in the wintertime, to say the least. But yeah, we're growing. We have about 13 employees now. We have 7 trucks running, and yeah, just living the dream.
Oh, I love that. I say that all the time too. Living the dream, man.
Yep,
And really, we are as entrepreneurs, right? We have so much flexibility to be able to do as we see, and I think that's one of the perks for all the other things that we put up with in running our
for
business, right?
for
So
sure.
you mentioned your dad started this business back in the '80s. What do you remember the most about growing up around the business?
I remember, um, I remember the him being as involved as he was or is. How he made it to every baseball game or every, I wrestled growing up. My sister swam. He was at every meet, every match. No matter what it was, he was at all the field trips and all that. But if there wasn't something going on with the kids, it was, checking the answer machine, doing the bids. It was just, he never got away from it unless he wanted to.
Right, right.
I guess is something that I remember. And I always thought it was cool. He ran the company right out of our house basically. And I just always thought it was neat and cool. He would, be able to basically go out, downstairs and get his day started.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it was neat watching that. And he, like I said, it was a pretty he did very well for himself, but he kept it simple, which
Hmm.
I wonder why I don't do that same thing sometimes. But I have bigger dreams and ambitions, I guess.
Yeah. I love that what came to mind was that he showed up, right, for all your
Mhm.
games and sporting events, and so that really resonated with me. I was the same way with my kids, so I'm like, man, I hope my kids say that about me someday, you know? I
Yeah, yeah,
mean,
exactly.
as
Yep.
they get to their adult years. But that's really cool. That is really, really cool because I think that's so important, to have that your parents and out supporting you, right? When they're busy, right? I mean, you don't really understand everything they're doing, but hey, he's running the business, but hey, he's there, never miss anything. That's a cool. I love that answer. taking over a family business, can sound simple from the outside, but you and I both know there's a lot to it. What's been harder than you expected?
It's just the whole just the family aspect as a whole. Being in Cape May County, it's a very small town. Um, and being the tourist thing, I have a lot of friends that I grew up with that grew up in family businesses and have taken them over also. And seeing that, I've been very outside of just work related, but very blessed to have, my father as my, leader and, handing the business over. Um, he's always been, he's always let me go out and figure it out on myself, which has been huge, through my success. But also with that, knowing that he was right there if I needed him. I see some other relationships and it's very controlling. It's very, untrustworthy
Sure.
where, my father literally just gave me the business and said, if you want it, take it. Like I laugh. I right out of high school, I moved to, Florida and, I was going to school down there. It lasted about 2 weeks. Um, I started doing plumbing down there with a small company who I still stay in touch with the guy. Shout out to Vision Plumbing in Stewart, Florida. But I remember when I came home after about a year and a half, 2 years of being down there, I told my father I wanted more responsibility. And at the time, we were working on at the time our largest home to date. Um, it was a I think 22 bathroom house, big you know, house on the beach. And I came home and told I wanted more responsibility, and he said, "Okay, take this job over." And he just handed it to me and let me take it to the finish line. And he was, which we kind of still this day we throw each other into the wolves.
Yeah.
Knowing that we're there to help and to support when needed. But, I really feel that's the only way you can learn, and, that's how I learned. It was, hands-on and, figure it out, and you got a team behind you if you can't, so
Sure. You said when we spoke beforehand, I always like to do a little prep call before we actually do the podcast. But your dad's still active, right? I mean, he still works every day.
he still works every day. I joke all the time that, he'll seize up if he stops.
Yeah.
He's 60, I think 64 years old, and, he'll work circles around every one of my guys, and including myself.
Sure. How do you
So
respect, or how do you balance respecting the way he built a company while also making it your own?
again, he really let me just do my thing. He still kind of runs our if you will, the new construction side of things. We still have some relationships that were built through him. But he wants no part of the business itself. He just wants he just wants to get in the truck and work.
So, um, you said you made a pretty big shift, right, from new construction to service work. What pushed that decision?
To be honest with you, I was I was tired of I was tired of having all my eggs in one basket. Let me put it that way. Um, things, as anyone I think can relate, things have changed from 30 years ago. It's a different world that we live in. Um, I felt everything, 30, 25, 30 years ago, or, even shorter, 15 years ago. Um, Quality was still a huge thing. At the time, the builders that we were doing work for, everything was built, based off of the name and the quality. And I feel like after 2008, things kind of shifted, and it was more how cheap and how fast can you get it done.
Mhm.
And relationships weren't as important as they used to be. Um, and I just didn't like that atmosphere. I didn't like being, told when I could go somewhere, when they were ready for me, or, being dependent on, a handful of guys that could walk away and, find someone else. Um, so and I enjoy the service side of it. I find it more rewarding. Showing up, your toilet's clogged. You have no idea what to do. We show up, we've
Sure.
seen it 1,000 times. We have the correct tools. We're able to, get in and out. And it's like, as silly as it sounds, you can be the hero for the day. Which
Absolutely.
that didn't happen at new construction too much.
Yeah,
If you were showing up to the house, it was because they didn't like, the faucet was crooked or there was a
sure.
drip underneath the sink that, wasn't dripping a week ago when you got your final inspection.
Yeah, plus you had to be on their schedule versus your schedule
Exactly.
because
Exactly.
they don't need you right now, right? You're one of the contractors or subs that's you got to go and do the plumbing part of the job. I'm
Mhm.
curious because y'all just said you recently added the HVAC component, right?
Yes.
Um, were customers already asking for that, or was it more of a strategic and growth move?
It was a strictly growth move. Service plumbing is, it's great. We love it, but it's certainly nice and has helped been able to offer another service. Um, that was kind of just the biggest thing again, growth, the opportunity of, now we can offer two services. People that maybe don't need a plumber, but their AC is not working, right? We
Sure.
show up now they know of buds, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just strictly growth, is what it comes down to and potential.
You said AC not working out, so I raised my hand. I have a blower motor currently out on my unit
Okay.
downstairs. Yeah, it's a train unit that I put in,
Okay.
I think 21, but apparently there's been some new compliance. So these motors are all have to be reprogrammed and so forth to be so and they're on backwards. So anyway, they had to order a different
Gotcha.
motor. It's got to be programmed. So when she told me, I was taught it's a company I've used forever on Tuesday, it was like, it'll be next Tuesday. I was like, what? What? I was like,
Yeah.
we're used to immediate gratification. I'm like, well, I was like, it could
Yep.
always be worse. At least it's not August, right? It's a little
Yeah,
warm in the house, but hey,
yeah,
there could be a lot worse things in life, right? But,
for sure.
yeah, AC's out and, it's kind of a bummer, but it'll be back up running soon. I'm
There you
curious
go.
about your culture because you mentioned team and you're growing. You got 7 trucks running now, right? So,
Mhm.
um, what does doing the job right mean at Bud's Plumbing?
Um, so we take a lot of pride, or at least we try to take a lot of pride in what we do and who we are. Um, you know, we really try to invest in our team. Um, one of the things that we do that we've been doing for I think 4 years now, which we're proud of, is every Wednesday we cook breakfast for the crew.
Oh, that's cool.
And we cook it right here. We have basically the same thing. My dad, my dad's known as Pops.
Okay.
Everyone calls him Pops. He cooks for everyone. We do, eggs, bacon sandwiches. And then right now we were doing pancakes. Now we're doing French toast. So he does change it up every once in a while. But,
I'm sure
that
it's
was,
delicious.
yeah, it is. It really is. And it's cool because my kids get super excited because they eat every Wednesday breakfast,
Okay.
as well. He
Sure.
comes and cooks them all breakfast, runs it up to them, and then comes back and cooks it for everyone else. So they love Wednesday mornings. But it's been a big culture thing for us. Just getting the guys together, especially like we have our what we call install crews and our service crews, and then our HVAC guys, and it really gives everyone the opportunity to kind of spend a little bit of time together. Um, but we also have apprenticeship program that we're doing right now, trying to get these younger guys or anyone for that matter to be invested to go get their license. You know, Back to your question about, what's quality to us. It's more customer satisfaction than I would say anything else. Of course we want the job done right, but one of the things that we try to push and we try to teach our, technicians and our apprentices is, educating our customers. This is why we do it this way. This is why it's done this way. this is how and why, this system works this way, or we recommended this one for you. So education's a big thing that we're trying to push here as well. And yeah, it really comes down to the customer satisfaction, right? I mean, if I can put in a new boiler for you and it could be something that, you want to put in a magazine, but if the customer doesn't know how to use it,
Yeah.
what's that really matter, right? The customer doesn't understand it, you know. Granted, we're not, asking or teaching our customers or expecting our customers to be able to, change out a pump or something after we leave. But we want them to understand that, this is why we recommended this system and, this is how it works. So, I guess education would be a big thing for us to, hit our quality mark that we look for.
Yeah, just that little blower pump example. I mean, the lady explained to me why when she called back, what was going on, why? Because I've never had a week out in between
Hmm.
repairs, and I've used this. So, son who has his own business, but his dad had a big HVAC company I've used for years. Did all of his marketing for years, so I always get really good service. I'm very appreciative, but I was just like a week. So she
Yeah,
explained to me how this is working, and then I reached out to Randy, and he gave me more. So now I'm educated on these blower motors, what's going
gotcha.
on.
Yeah.
Um, so with your team and all that, yeah, I can tell you're passionate about your team, right? And so when you're hiring people, what are you looking for in a possible new member beyond just technical skill? I know you want to be technical and know,
Yeah.
the trade, but what else are you
Yeah.
looking?
Um, Self-worth is a huge thing, right? Um, one of the questions that we always, have in our interviews is, where do you see yourself in 10 years? Because that's always something that, strikes me, not many people think like that. And I'm not looking for the answer to be, a millionaire.
Mhm.
Generally what I'm looking for is, I want to hear that, larger goals, right? Outside of wealth and money. Family's a huge thing for us. Faith is a, huge thing for us. Our core values are faith, craftsmanship, and accountability. And, we really try to hold true to them, in that order. Um, I always tell people again on the interview, faith is a huge part of my life and it's, how I live my life. We're not going to hit you over the head with the Bible, but we do expect you to show respect and, love and compassion for, everyone on our team, our customers and whatnot. And honesty is, what we're looking for,
Sure.
more than anything. Um, so yeah, a big thing that, yeah, again, I ask in our interviews is where do you see yourself in 10 years? And I love hearing that, answer. It really can tell you a lot about someone.
100%. Yeah.
When you get a potential employee that, doesn't have an answer for that question, it's a little bit alarming.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's when you might wanna pass on. That's when you start wrapping up the interview quickly,
yeah,
right?
exactly, right. We're looking for guys, we're not looking for summer help when we are hiring. We're always looking for career, opportunities.
Gotcha,
Um, so, we very rarely do we ever hire for short-term, scenarios.
gotcha. I wanna talk a little bit about, and I love the whole faith, being really the foundation, right? And, like I said, we're not gonna beat you over the head with the Bible, but we do expect respect and so forth, love.
Mhm.
That's all good stuff. I mean, I think that's a reason, one of the reasons to have the success that you're having, right? Just be really grounded and in that foundation. When we had our little prep call, we were talking about operations and so forth. You said you're building a portal, right? Bud's portal.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's something that it's fairly new to us. We're actually hoping to launch it with the guys, come June 1st.
Okay.
Um,
What problem are you trying to solve with that with this new portal?
what problem aren't we trying to solve? We have, I call it software, diarrhea.
Yeah.
It's something that, we've gotten a lot better at. I kind of joke around. I now have the rule set that, if we take on one new app, we have to get rid of two,
There you go.
which we've been pretty successful for. We've knocked, a lot of our apps down, but using, we are currently inside our operations, whether, it's office staff or, the field. We use Jobber, which is our central hub. Very happy with Jobber. It's very simple and limited though. Um, it's easy to teach the guys. It's very cost efficient, but again, it's limited to what it can do. Um, we have our phone system that, so we're using that. We were using another software for inventory, which just didn't work out for us. We weren't quite there yet. You know, but I guess this hub that we're a portal that we're bringing on is, and come June, we're going to be able to do three major things out of it. It's going to be our central hub for where the guys are going to clock in and out. So their payroll is going to be done inside this. Right now, we're using QuickBooks timesheets, which no complaints. But again, it's just one more app that these guys have to go into and remember to open up every day. So by bringing this into the portal, that's kind of, one thing that there's a lot of things that, guys forget to do, especially when it's, a new process that we bring on. They tend not to forget to clock in. So, we're trying to, that'll be one of the first things we do. So, they get used to using the hub here,
I like that.
or
Uh,
portal.
yeah,
Uh,
no, you
it-
basically just take a lot of the technology and apps and put it on the one
we're
spot.
trying to build it all into one. We have big dreams of what we're going to do with it, but another thing that we'll be doing is truck inventory through it. When our techs are out pulling material, we came up, we have this whole SKU board. So they'll be able to pull material, tag it to the job, and once that ticket gets submitted, it heads over to our warehouse, and we're able to restock the truck, for the next day. So generally once a week, these guys are going to, they get a bin full of fittings or parts that they pulled off the truck from the week, and that'll all happen inside the portal.
Yeah, well, congrats on taking the leap of faith to build it and start, because that's a lot of times the hardest part is just getting started, right? And
Hmm.
so and then
Comes down to the team.
you
I
like,
don't, I said it comes down to my team.
yeah.
I throw a lot of ideas at these guys, and, I got a great team. I have my guy, Rich, who is just phenomenal, especially with the technology side of things. And I throw a lot of shit at the wall and he makes it stick.
Well, that's great. And then have a, hey, we got a launch date June 1st, because I always encourage people too. It's even if it's as simple as building a website. Look, let's go live. This is not,
Hmm.
this is version one, right? But
Exactly.
let's go live so we can start using it and figure out what we need to improve, fix, and then we'll go to version 2 and version 3. So, hey, we're in the process with all this technology and Claude and AI. I mean, we're building, retooling our whole agency
Yep.
around it. And but it's cool. I think it's a big opportunity for us. It enables us to build some really cool reporting dashboards, just tools, kind of like what you're talking about, to where I can get rid of, it's a great, I've got so many tools that we use in our agency. It's ridiculous. I like that. I'm going to tell my team next time they bring a new one. If for every new one we bring on, we got to eliminate two.
Exactly.
I'm going to steal that, because we spent a ton of money on tools. It's but that is changing too, because of Claude, that we're knee deep in on the AI side.
Awesome.
Um, what's exciting, or what excites you for the next 2 to 3 years, or what are you excited about, I should say?
Growth, is a huge thing. We do hope, one of our plans is to, within, I'd like to really start working on it at the end of this year, being, fourth quarter, and, really launching it and get it started next year. I'd like to get our electrical license. It's something that, I've always wanted to do. And, I think it'd be a huge, success for us and help us, in the long-term goal. One of the things that we did, we grew quick. When I say that, 2021, I had myself and my father. I had no office staff. And we kind of exploded in the last, really the first year and a half of going service. I never marketed, spent a dollar on marketing before 2021. Didn't have to. Didn't know the first thing about it. And, I always laugh because the first, 6 months, I think I was spending maybe $1,200, $1,500, and it killed me.
Yeah.
Like, I was just throwing money away. And, at the time, my team was, we need to spend more. And they kept, I heard that a few times, and it was like very hard. And, next thing you know, gave permission. We threw another, I think, $1,000 on it, and the phone started ringing.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, I'm not, so I understand, the marketing on it. Not a wizard by any chance, but just that aspect of it. But this year, so with the growth, we are really trying to plan, and this year's focusing on growing within. We really put a phenomenal team and group of guys and girls together over the last couple of years. One of the things that we really want to focus on this year is just having all our current team growing within. We really want to create some manager type, members with us, and entrepreneurs with us, and really focus on, next year when we go to get these new hires, that, our current team is ready to supervise them.
Sure.
And that's, kind of what we're focusing on this year. Which again, hopefully gives us the opportunity in 2027 to, explode again.
Yeah.
And hopefully give us, the capital and saving to, with this year to be able to do that.
I like it. Kind of get the team ready to expand and grow, and then
Yeah.
also be supportive of the new people coming in.
Yeah.
Is
And, again, family's a huge thing. We look at our team as family. We want them to be successful just like we are, and, I don't want any of my technicians to be driving around as a technician for 5 years.
Sure.
There's, we offer an apprenticeship program for all, basically all our employees, which allows them to go get their HVAC or plumbing license. Part of our goal and hope is, every team member that comes in here, within 5 years of being with us, has their license and is willing to do something with it, whether that's in-house or, we have a thing here. It's 5 years for the apprenticeship. We ask to hold the license for 2 years after it's granted. In 7 years, you gave me 7 hard years. We'll shake hands and wish you the best of luck.
I like that.
So,
Yeah. Or they can stay.
or they can stay, and it allows us to branch out, right?
Good. Yeah. Yeah.
Now I can get a license, HVAC or plumber in, the next county.
Yeah.
So,
My best friend, one of my best friends, he's the best man at my wedding, but he built the biggest irrigation company in Texas and maybe in the country. But and it was all from really team and then self-promoting from within, and just created different divisions based off different counties they were in, and then gave had people that he literally hired out of college that would become the manager of those territories, and then gave him an opportunity to buy those territories, right, and actually be have ownership in that territory, actually buy it from him. But just that whole team concept, like you said, he was able to grow and expand just from hiring really good people and then promoting from within. So
awesome.
it can definitely work. It can definitely be a huge, huge way to grow your business. And you already have the culture, it's already set in that person. So you mentioned marketing there a minute ago. I want to kind of circle back because when we talked earlier, you mentioned that you'd been through several agencies. I think you said you worked like 3 or 4 different agencies,
Yeah.
and now you're doing everything in house. And I'm just curious, and you're not going to hurt my feelings, so be honest with me. But what wasn't working with the agency experience for you?
The biggest thing that wasn't working for me was I was never able to get a true report on our, ROI. It was always, we sat down, we met with these marketing companies, and, they gave you the plan. They told you everything was going to work, and learning more. And I'm big on, I'd like to try to understand, you know, not that I want to master it, but I want to understand. So when I sit in a meeting, I have an idea what, they're talking about, whatever the scenario or the, who we're meeting with. But it really seemed like it was, again, no offense, but plug and play, if you will. It seemed like I was getting the same treatment as, the 10 other, agencies or companies they were working with. And it was like, it felt like it was always a large grind for the first 2 or 3 weeks, and then it was just like we would do our weekly meeting, and it was just like repetitive, we set this up, we did this, we did that, and nothing was really it was like and again, we're a small company, right? I didn't have a marketing team per se. I had a marketing agency. So I didn't have anyone necessarily, and I didn't have the time or the knowledge to sit down and say, hey, this campaign is not really working. Or, I know my customers better than any marketing group does, right? So, hey, this time of year, let's push this, or that's time of year, let's push that. Um, a lot of it probably, Todd, was my lack of, attention to it as well. Maybe I gave the agencies too much trust and, thinking they were going to fix all our problems when the schedule was a little late.
Well, did you mention though, I think the first thing you said is you never could get a true ROI report?
Correct. That was something that we can never truly track.
Just
You know,
crazy. I hear
it
that a
was,
lot.
yeah, I'm talking three or four agencies and two larger ones that, I took on. And
What's
and what I mean by that, like they can never tell me that, hey, Mrs. Smith, you know, you sold Mrs. Smith this water heater for X, and that phone number was tracked back to this campaign that you have spent X amount of dollars on so far,
That is
right?
just crazy
It
because
crazy, and we're doing it now. That's what
yeah,
blows my
yeah.
mind. It's like we're focused in house now. Again, shout out to Rich. Well, we have it to where I can tell you how many times that campaign, made our phone ring and how much revenue we have gotten from that, single campaign.
Yeah,
Um,
it's crazy with lead conversion, right? Conversion tracking we're passionate
yep.
about, but I'm not gonna go on a rant, but it just drives me crazy because that's what gives the agency world, our world, and that's my livelihood, a bad name. Um, I've been doing call tracking for 20 plus years. Like we're like
Hmm.
back to my print days, like and the calls were recorded, but I knew, hey, you got this many calls, but and that's advanced so much. There's no reason on planet Earth for an agency not to be able to track exactly, did that come from like Google Ads? Did it come from local service ads? Did it come from SEO,
Hmm.
Google Business Profile? Because that's all trackable, right? You should be able to tell exactly where the lead came from and whether it's a phone call, a web form. And then um, our biggest challenge is not we can show you the leads and where they're coming. It's really getting the business owner or someone on their team to then follow that through the funnel and actually
Hmm.
put in the notes in the portal, right? In our dashboard, um, what it was. I mean, did it close into a job? Because we're passionate about ROI, right? Obvious ROI.
Hmm.
We want our clients to know it's working, right? So that's a big challenge on our end is just having the end of the funnel because that's what we don't know. I know you got this call. I know what time it came in. I can listen to the call. I got the transcript of the call. I've got the information on the web form. Looks like a great lead. But what I don't know is did you close the job, right? And then if you close
Hmm.
the job, what was the revenue? And a lot of business owners will share that if they have someone on the team tracking it, right? So sorry you went through that. There's no reason for that. And I can see why you're excited now because who knew? I can actually see this data and
It
make real decisions based off what's working and not's working based off real numbers, right?
for sure. Yep.
So, and you said you're doing everything in house. And you've got, I think you said a husband and wife team that basically does your marketing for you, right?
Correct. Yes, they
Okay.
they do. All our marketing for us.
Are they overseas?
They are overseas. They are currently in Spain. There's actually three of them.
Okay.
And Richwell is the main guy. He kind of oversees it all. Irish is his wife, and she's more on the operation side. Checking the jobs and those kind of things
Sure.
for us and tracking it all together. Like I said, it's all about the team you put together.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Well,
know, I
yeah. I mean, that's you need good people, but
exactly.
congrats on not settling and then seeing, finding that the right match for you to be able to track that ROI. Because marketing, you're spending dollars. It always drove me nuts when I'd be talking to a new client and they would be like, I just want my marketing to break even, just I can
Yeah.
just break even with marketing. I'm like, no,
Yeah.
we want to make money. We want to
Yep.
have an ROI. It's return on investment. I'm just curious, do you know, what channels are working best for you that they do for you?
We're doing a lot on Google,
Yep,
local
service
services.
ads? Yeah.
Yeah, is our biggest thing. We've gotten pretty good at turning it on and off, which has been interesting. It's kind of something that we shout out. At the end of the week, beginning of the week. Whether we're throwing more at it, taking some off. It's been fun playing with it.
Sure.
We've definitely learned that there's a small lead hold time there. If I throw more money at today, it's not doesn't mean at 2 o'clock my phones are going to start ringing more. you know
Yeah, Google
um
kinda toggles that too, right? It's not like
mhm.
Google Ads, which is the pay-per-click model where you really can step on the gas, increase your budget.
Yep.
So it's 2 different worlds, but still very powerful, especially if they're working in tandem, right? We found
Mhm.
that it can be really powerful as far as a consistent lead flow. Do they work on your organic side of the house? Like you're out showing up on page 1, not on a pay-per-click or local service ad, the organic space, Google Business
Yes.
Profile?
Yep. Yeah, they've handled all, they've taken care of all that. We're in the process of actually rebuilding our website right now, which I'm excited for. We have a great website, but there's always places to improve,
Sure,
a room to improve, and but we've done a pretty good job. Reviews are huge for us.
sure.
It's something we really try to push. Um, we actually just released a thing with our team here. For every 5 star, for every five-star reviews they get a $25 gift card. So we're pushing our text to, we have review cards that we're handing out to our customers. So we've really increased them. That's been a big thing.
Great job there. I tell clients all the time, look, you just have to have a process, and there's a lot of ways to make
Yep.
getting reviews easy, especially with technology, but if you're not asking, you're not gonna get any. And then the
Hmm.
other thing we always preach is, look, don't get overwhelmed. I gotta get reviews, just have a process and think about it. If you got 2 a week, you'd have 100 at the end of the year.
Yeah. Yep.
A week, right? So it's just let the law of average, compounding work in your
And
favor.
and incentivizing the guys have been huge.
Yeah,
We have it, each technician has their own card. So there's a QR code that each technician has.
sure.
So when that QR code gets tagged, it's tagged to the technician. So it's easy for us to maintain and monitor who's getting the reviews.
Yeah, no,
But we handed these cards out, and next thing you know, it's like we're getting reviews again.
you
So
just you gotta ask, "Hey, we're an agency, and I think we should have a lot more reviews. I think we have around 30 or so, and we should have more, but it's the same thing. I mean, I'm always like, team, we got to practice what we preach, let's go
Hmm.
get some reviews because we talk about our success stories on our status calls and clients happy. And why are we not asking? So we all struggle with it. Kudos for, diving back in there with the guys and even incentivizing the guys to be top of mind and ask, because it's really just about asking. Um, I know we've got a hard stop, so we're going to wrap this up. I got a couple of closing questions for you. For the homeowners in your area, what do you want them to know about how Buds does business?
Just that we try to be as honest as we can. We try to be as available as possible. Um, you know, we really thrive in customer satisfaction, and trust. We really want to be the only company that you're thinking of calling. Um, Again, we live in a summer um, community. A lot of second homes and all that, which it's trust is huge. We have a handful of customers, or majority of our customers. It's like, we have their code to their front door, or we have a big box with everyone's front door key in it,
Sure.
because they know they can trust us.
Yeah.
Hey, there's an issue. Memberships are something that we started, a couple years ago. Really started pushing them. Um, Memberships, we have 3 different tiers. We have a silver, which is plumbing, gold, which is HVAC, and then our platinum covers both plumbing and HVAC. As a member, you get, um, 2 to 4 yearly visits where we'll show up in the fall time and springtime and do a full house check for you. And you become a preferred customer. Just scheduling becomes more prioritized
Sure.
for our members. And then, they receive a 5% discount on all services. And our platinum members don't get charged a diagnosis fee.
Okay.
So, you need us, we're coming out. It's not costing you anything for us to come out.
I like that.
Um,
I like that a lot, and just having a box full of front door keys speaks volumes, right? Because people
yeah,
trust
it's
you, and that's, hey, if you have a second home, right, and it's an issue, and I'm not there, it's a peace of mind as an owner. We used to have a place up in Colorado, but yeah, just to know, hey, yeah, go handle it. I
Yep,
trust you, so that speaks volumes as well. Trust is, I don't care what trust is so big in life.
exactly.
That's cool. I haven't heard that. I've done a lot of podcasts and no one's told me they have a box full of home keys that they can go
Mm.
in. So, um, looking back at everything you've gone through, right, from working with your dad as a kid to running the business today, what are you most proud of?
Um, I would say the thing I'm most proud of is, continuing the trust and quality in our name. HVAC was just such a success, starting it up because of the name that my father, built. It was very easy to, I'm not going to say easy, but it was easier than normal to go and do what we did with HVAC, having, the local repetition that we had because of the name and the company that, my father built. Um, and I feel confident that, we have kept that same name, if not improved on it in the last couple years. And I would say that's probably what I'm most proud about. And, I get to make it to all my kids' baseball games and wrestling matches and, you know, horse shows and whatnot. So
Carry the
that's another
tradition,
thing I'm
right?
proud of. Yep.
Same thing that your dad did for you. So I love that, man. There's nothing better than family, right?
E
We're huge on family too. And my director of paid ads, she's off today through, I think, next Tuesday. She's getting married. So,
Oh, awesome.
I'm like, congrats, go have fun. We'll hold the fort down while you're gone. Last
Nice.
question for you. I always like to kind of end on this because there's a young Michael Budd out there somewhere thinking about getting into trades or starting my own business. Want to be an entrepreneur. I want to get into plumbing business. What advice would you give them if they were to come to you and ask, "Hey, Michael, how do I do this? How do I get started?"
I would say, if you don't already, find a good foundation, whatever that means for you. Um, you know, Stay confident and accept failure. I don't care who you are, you're going to fail.
Sure,
Um, you know, the 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 larger you get, the harder you fall, right? Um,
100%.
I've learned that more than I'd like to admit. But it's the entrepreneur spirit is just keep going. Have, again, faith's a huge thing for us. Um, you know, there's enough worrying tomorrow to worry about it today, right?
Right.
So live for what you got. Stay, work hard and don't be afraid to sweat and bleed a little bit.
Sure, sure. I love what you just said, that little one-liner. Well, what's it? There's enough worry for tomorrow to not worry about today? Or, well,
Enough worry in tomorrow to worry about it today.
okay, in tomorrow. Okay,
I'm
yeah.
kind of it's a proverb that I'm kind of butchering, and I wish I knew it off the top of my head, but it's in those lines.
Yeah, no, no, it jumped out at me. I love one-liners. I love those.
Hmm.
So I appreciate you sharing that. Well, Michael, man, it's been great visiting with you. I appreciate you jumping on and sharing your story and being so open with us and all of our listeners. And we wish nothing but great success and growth for you guys as we round into the second half of 2026. So, all our listeners out there, if they want to get a hold of Bud's Plumbing in heating and HVAC, how can they find you? What's the best way?
Our website's probably the easiest thing. It's budsplumbing.com. All our information's on there. We have that's the easiest way to find us, right online.
Gotcha. Gotcha. If any of our listeners want to learn more or talk shop about digital marketing, you can always find me at everydaymediagroup.com. Well, Michael, enjoy the rest of your day. We had a hard stop at 4 o'clock and it's 3:59. We did it.
Awesome.
All
Love
right,
it,
man.
Todd.
Take
I
care. Great
really
talking to
appreciate
you.
you having us. Thank
You
you.
bet. Bye bye.